Welcome back to round four of the US Open Invitationals. I'm Women Grandmaster Sabina Foyshore, joined by the awesome Grandmaster Kaden Troff. We were talking about the various, adjectives that I could give before the presentation. So I stick to awesome for now. Well, I'll come up with more. I'll
That's
come
okay.
up with
I,
more later.
I I I told her. I told her she didn't need to. It's always appreciated. Didn't need to. Didn't go with the one I recommended, but
I
didn't
know,
need
I
to.
know. Well,
So
well, we use that for later. I'll use that for later. I'm just keeping
oh,
it.
okay, okay.
It's saved. It's
See,
saved up.
perfect.
But it's really great to be back with you today, Kaden. And before we get into the games, also we're still waiting for the games to get started. But
Yes,
I wanted to remind everyone the time control for the invitationals is 90 minutes plus 30 seconds increment from move one, and that's it. That's all they have.
yes.
We've experienced some interesting games.
Some big time scrambles. It's not always pleasant to be on the side of losing a time scramble, but as commentators, I think it's exciting to get
It
some of those
is.
time scrambles where you get maybe see a few more mistakes, a few more interesting positions, and I really like this time control. I think it's fantastic.
No, I agree. And I think something that I've noticed ever since I got into doing commentary is that typically every single round, or maybe tournament wise, you get similar themes. Maybe you just notice them because you're doing commentary, because otherwise you would not notice those themes. But I feel that we've had some interesting positional themes, specifically regarding the bishop pair. So if you
Yes.
guys are some of those chess players that tend to give up your bishops, maybe you want to think twice, re-listen to our vods, and see how many positions there were in this tournament so far
Absolutely.
that really helped the side that had the bishop pair. So that's certainly something important to keep in mind. And
I also noticed last round there was a lot of two pieces for a rook. Some of those exchanges, which we also look at as the bishops because they were often getting the two bishops, but a lot of these material imbalances that in some cases went well for the person that had the rook. In some cases, well, generally I'd say it went well for the two pieces. But yeah, I mean, watching all these games, you see those connections and you see those little differences. And to your point, Sabina, good to look at those games, compare, and learn from so you can
exactly.
understand more and more. In this case, the bishops or
Yeah, or the different themes. There will be different themes. You also saw some very interesting end games, rook end games, knight versus bishop. Very interesting material. If you are a coach, you can certainly, save some of those positions for later. And also, of course, what else I was gonna? I got distracted. The door opened. The door
we had someone
opened.
just do a little peek in.
Pekin. But no, I think what else did we have? Some interesting attacks. There were some tactics. A lot of the games, well, part of the games were decided based on blunders or blind spots that some of the players had and led to their defeat.
Yeah.
So we are really looking forward for today's rounds as well. So this invitational tournaments, the Denker, the Barber, the Rockefeller, the Irwin, and the Herring, all of them have 6 rounds, and the tournament is composed of players from almost every single state from US.
Yes.
Besides Alaska, we
Oh,
know
yeah,
that
we have one player from Alaska in the barber.
we have,
One
yeah,
player. A
and
little bit of
then
representation.
a little bit of representation, but unfortunately, the other tournaments do not have a representative, and there are, of course, a few people missing in some of the other events. But it's certainly really interesting to see everyone being here and trying to compete for the first prize, because after all, first prize is the one that gives, especially for the youth tournaments and the girls tournaments, it gives them a scholarship to go
Yes.
to college later on. So that is something, pretty big, aside from, of course, the prestige of being here and representing their state.
Yeah, all these events have a $5,000 scholarship, and all are qualifiers for another event, which I think's great.
Yes.
Yeah, it's nice to have that first prize, but just that it's leading to another event.
Yeah.
For the Dinker, it's a qualifier for the U.S. Junior. The Irwin is a qualifier for the U.S. Senior Championship. The Ruth Herring is a qualifier for the Junior Girls.
Girls.
And
Yeah.
then the Barber and Rockefeller are qualifiers for the U.S. Cadet Championship. So, other than the scholarship, which already is amazing,
It is. Yeah,
uh,
you just get this extra bonus where you
right?
can, that there are prizes there too, so you actually have the opportunity to compete for even more by
Yes,
being there. Again, very prestigious tournaments, and it is really great to be here once again. We want to remind everyone that the U.S. Open is really prestigious. It's at its 123rd edition, and I cannot emphasize on this enough. It's not often that you see a tournament that keeps being organized for so long.
yeah,
And this is one of those tournaments. It has three different schedules that you can compete in: the 9 day, the traditional, the 6 day, and the 4 day. So there's still time to register for both the 6 and the 4 day schedule.
come
Um,
on down.
yeah, join us here. There's still, the weather seems to be looking nice, so hopefully you would not have any issues with planes if you don't live too far away. You can always drive here.
Yes,
I can tell you, coming again, coming from St. Louis, where it was 102 degrees Fahrenheit, and coming here to 70 something, it just feels great because you're going a little bit away from the very warm summer and just getting a nice breezy summer where the weather is good. There's a really beautiful area to play in, and you just want to be here to enjoy playing chess and just feel comfortable. Try to kind of not think about external stuff, hopefully,
yes,
and
yeah.
play some fun chess. So it's really great
Oh,
to be here.
absolutely. It's been getting quite warm in Utah as well, and you know, it's been quite fantastic to be
To
here.
be
Where
here.
I actually want to go outside. I know as a chess player, sometimes staying inside is just perfect, but when the weather is actually as nice as it has been here,
Hmm.
I'm tempted to go outside and have been going outside, uh, and it has been really good. The venue, DeVos Place, is just amazing. This massive convention center where I just it's rare to look at a tournament this big and think, wow, we only take up like a small portion of this place. There are some other events going on which have been fun to see. Just overall, just a very wonderful time being here in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and all that good stuff.
We hope to see you here. Feel free to stop us if you happen to see us on the hallways, and if you have extra cookies, there, there's someone, there's someone right here enjoying those. So let us know what's the best place to get them. I'm not gonna ask for cookies for you
Oh
anymore,
yeah,
but
no,
yeah.
good places. That's
But
a good way.
but
By the
I
way,
think the games will very soon start getting moves on the games. So let's remind everyone the standings in every single event as we're getting into the next um, rounds, as the round 4 is getting started. So let's
yes,
start with
and don't mind the microphone. It has magically disappeared on our other views. Unfortunately, it does show up here. It is not as big as it looks. It's just closer to the camera. For one asking in chat, it is 6 rounds. So far, they have completed round 3, so halfway. And as you see in the Danker, halfway, we only have 3 perfect scores. One of which is Levon He, who I want to highlight because Levon is 2095, and Arthur Guo, who is sitting in the top spot currently, is 2536. So a massive rating gap there.
And they're playing against each other today. So we're gonna see Levon He taking on
Oh,
Arthur
Levon,
Goa.
he's been fantastic.
But he's gonna have the white pieces, so we'll see if he can put up a good fight against the top seed
Yeah,
in the end.
to me,
Or second
definitely
top seed.
the highlight game because you have Levon He, who's been the dark horse, the underdog, playing fantastic chess, and Arthur Gould, whose last game against Zoe Tang I thought was brilliant. Zoe Tang
He
got a good
found
opening, and he just found a beautiful way to fight back, to create some counterplay, and then in the moments that it counted, found some really good moves, including Rook B3, which may have been suggested by someone.
okay, you had to go there. Got it.
No,
Okay.
no,
No, no, but
very
I love
good.
the maneuver with Rook H3, Rook A6,
Yeah,
Rook H3, A3, and then capturing the pawn in A7 and just kind of taking advantage of the fact that he had an exchange up. And when you do have that, it's very important to activate your rooks.
yes,
That's how you really
absolutely.
show the power of the rook versus the bishop, and that's what he did in that game.
Yes.
On board two, we will have Evan Park, who is only 2.5, and he's gonna play against the other player with 3 out of 3, Max Low.
So a couple of
Two top
pretty big
games.
matchups in the Danker that we have.
Of course, and it's we should not forget about those players who have 2.5 points. They're a few FIDE masters with that number of points, 2.5, and they will be playing against each other. We're certainly going to be looking at those games too.
Yes, and one thing I do want to just point out about one of those 2.5 players, Gus Huston, his game against Vishnu got cut off yesterday. It was
Right.
the one that froze.
Yeah.
I checked it later that night. They
Oh,
fixed
yeah.
it. They ended up playing a hundred of over 100 move game.
Okay.
So
So we
they were
we
still burning the midnight oil when we figured they were done.
we thought
Uh,
that they were done, and
but a
I
hard
guess we
fought.
escaped. We escaped a little bit earlier on that game, and I feel bad because I do enjoy doing commentary, and I often know that sometimes commentators say, "Oh, I can't wait for the games to be over so I can go," but actually, I personally feel very excited about this because this is how you bring more awareness about chess, and you let the chess fans know how exciting this is by
Yeah,
showing your passion to the commentary. So yeah.
absolutely. It does look like we are starting to get moves on Lee Chess.
Yes,
So,
we are.
uh,
But we are going to go over, we're going to finish the standings
yeah,
first. Anyways, the opening part, we are catching up with it as it goes. So let's remind everyone what is happening in the Barber. We have three players with 3 points.
yes, the three players. Eric Zhao, who has been really fun to watch.
Yes, it's
the
very exciting
the
games.
path for him to 3 points has not been smooth. I would say it's been a wild roller coaster of a
But
ride,
somehow he was
but
getting
it's been good in the moments that he needed to be,
exactly.
and is sitting there ready to continue his path, hopefully to victory. We also have Brewington Hardaway that go ahead.
No, no, who took a bye in the first round because he
Yes.
had most likely some issues making it here, and he's catching up with the lead, of course, with the three players, and we'll have on top two boards Ron and Wilson, who had that nice finish yesterday with the queen and the 19A1, the queen end game that was supposed to finish in a draw, but Ronan was able to take advantage of his opponent's final blunder, and
Yes.
he won that game. He's going to play against Eric Zhao, so I feel that's going to be a very interesting game to watch. And then on board two, we'll have Sihan Tao playing against, who's 2.5 points, playing against Eric Fang, the other player with 3 points.
Yes.
Going on to the Herring tournament, we only have two players
Only two
that are
players.
leading.
We've
With
fallen below our three. The girls are fighting. They're doing everything they can. Ruyang's game draw against Asha Kumar was a really interesting end game because it looked just when it looked like Gruyang was gonna be able to pull out the win. Asha Kumar found this H4, found that drawing idea, and managed to fend off the high or the number one seed in the tournament. So that was just that's what I've really enjoyed. Like we have some fighting games, but even the end games we're getting are rarely boring end games.
Yes, that's
They're
true.
still
That
trying to
is
fight.
true.
They're still trying to get every last little bit they can, and we've seen some successes and we've seen some beautiful holds there.
Certainly. So I'm really looking forward to see how things will go today. We still have to remind everyone about the last two tournaments that Arwin. The
Yes.
the Irwin tournament, that's the seniors tournament again. Two players with 3 points. They're facing each other.
Yes, and as far as consistency, I have to I kind of understand why these are the two that are at the top. They've both been very consistent. Okay, Jesse a little bit lucky in his second round, his opponent flagging in what appeared to be a drawn position, but still Jesse Cry and Nicolas Managadze have been very consistent, playing good chess. Not perfect. It's hard to play perfect chess, but have been playing very well.
But of course, that's easy to say from our point of view as commentators. That we catch different, we
Yes.
see a lot of ideas, we show different ideas. But I feel that it's going to be an interesting matchup because Jesse seems to play this tournament a little bit more positionally. Even the attacking games that he had the first round, it seems that it was more of a positional kind of attack where you build it up. You don't just sacrifice something to open up
Yes.
and bring your pieces. And then Nicolas Managadze seemed to be that he was a little bit more aggressive and his attacks were involving sacrifices. So that's going to
Yes.
be a very interesting game. I'm really looking forward to looking at that game. And lastly, in the Rockefeller tournament, we have three players with
Back
three out
to
of
our
three.
three players on three. It's everything's right with the world again. No. Um man, it's hard in some of the games we saw have been super fighting games. Uh even though I was playing chess, playing some fighting games at this age, I've seen it time and time again. It's still so surprising to just watch how much fight that these elementary kids have. They came to play. They came for that scholarship, and they're not ready to
Yeah,
back down
five
for
thousand
anything.
dollars for college is something huge, and the players, especially in the Rockefeller, they will have the opportunity to join in some of the other tournaments in the future. But for that to happen, they always have to be, the top rated player in their state. So,
Yes.
there's a lot of qualifications going on. But I think we've talked enough about, the standings and everything. If you guys have questions or if you're wondering where you can find all of this information, everything can be found on the website that I'm posting right now, uschess.org/results/2023/open. It's not that difficult.
I
It's like
mean,
slash results 2023/US Open. It's not like results, right? Right? Okay.
it's a lot of typing.
Anyways, I did post it in the chat, so hopefully you guys can see that. And I also have pinned on stream the link to the Lichess broadcast. So hopefully you guys can go over there. Let us know where you're watching us from and which board you want us to talk about. We'll try our best to discuss as many positions as we can. And then, of course, we are going to take your requests
Yes.
and we try to keep up with the chat. So the round has started and we're getting moves. So
Yeah, it might need to be a bit of a glance through the openings. The openings, I would say, for us commentators, sometimes the opening, we're waiting for it to get a little bit spicier. But this is a great opportunity if you see an opening you play, watch what they're playing. Just because, even if it's from the Rockefeller, these kids, or it's the Danker, high schoolers or the Irwin, these players come with some really good preparation, and it's a good time to maybe steal some ideas.
Oh, yeah, and
You
make
know,
sure you
that's
save those if you're ever gonna
right.
play against those people. If there's a chance, you might want to make sure you save those games. You might still find them in the database, but until then, you can get some insight by watching these games. Um, I was thinking to start with the first board in the Denker, but
Yes. Well,
so
I did take a glance at the first board, and
and you weren't excited about the opening,
oh,
but
it's
you're a D4 player.
oh,
What?
okay. Sorry. This is just this is a little bit of a personal moment maybe for me to jump to this Charvesh game,
Okay.
and talking about the opening. So, um, and
Okay, I didn't know what happened. You saw something that I didn't see.
yeah,
I got
I'm sorry.
scared.
I
No, no,
just
no. That's good.
this is in the early stages, not the biggest deal, and of course a bit of a different move order. But the reason this catches my attention because I've been playing this very well. So I play it with not knight c6. I play it with g6, d4, c takes d4.
Accelerated?
I've been playing the accelerated online. The one opening I admittedly am not a huge fan of playing against is the
The Mars.
Meroxy. So I've sort of picked up this sort of weird but aggressive variation Queen B6, where after Knight B3, you shouldn't play A5,
Mm-hmm.
but you can play A5
Mm-hmm.
in like faster time controls because over the board, if you don't know it, it's hard to find the moves for white to play.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had some pretty good success with this variation. Now, different move order, but with what happened in the game, you see this queen on b6, bishop on g7, and it's that same position, except Charvesh has essentially played knight c6
Mm-hmm.
instead of this a5. A better move for sure, but interesting to me, and I'm just like, we gotta go here, because I have not seen this very often. I haven't seen Queen B6 played very often, and so the fact that we're getting it here in the Dinker between two of the top players, this for me is probably one of the games I'm gonna try and keep an eye on, because this Meroxy with Queen B6 can lead to some very weird positions, especially if Charvesh at some point does play bishop takes c3. Gives up that bishop to weaken the pawn structure. It's not something you normally do, but you have some good ideas.
Yeah, I mean, I've played it myself, the both Marozzi with white, and because you can get it from a King's Indian
Yeah.
and just leave the pawn in d4, let them take it, and then get it. And I felt comfortable with white, typically. And I have tried the accelerated dragon a few times. I remember I was working with this famous grandmaster that has a lot of, talks about the dragon quite a lot. And I was quite comfortable with the accelerated dragon because I was told that there's no way for white to castle long. So that's how I got into accepting to play the Sicilian, because usually I would not play the Sicilian. I didn't want
You don't want
to.
to get attacked.
I didn't want to. So it was quite comfortable, but at some point I don't know what happened and I decided to stop playing it. Felt a little bit uncomfortable, specifically with the Marazzi, a little bit as you're saying with black. Oftentimes I would just allow this knight d5 and I wasn't sure how to stop it, and it was a little bit too much for me to not be able to attack, the center too soon. So it's a game that probably I would like to watch more as well.
Yes.
It
Any
just feels like what. Let's see. What did Max play? Max did not play the dragon, did he?
No, he
He did
played
not. He
the
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 knight
night
of.
orb. So they're
All right, so they're playing different things. We'll see if with the white pieces they will
white.
play. They will play the same thing. I
Yeah,
don't.
they
I don't know that they're like that. Like they. I don't know what's their
I,
friendship or. Maybe it just happened that they decided
I
to
don't
play those
know
moves.
if in the first round you play 1A3, both of you play 1A3,
It doesn't
and then
mean
the next round you both play 1B3, two fairly unusual
I
openings.
don't think C3
I,
is gonna be an option. I don't think it's gonna happen. It would be
I'm
too much.
it probably would, but at the same time, I would consider both
I
these
would not.
players absolute legends if they did it. The A3
Don't
B3.
say it a second time, Kaden. They might hear you and they
Okay,
might
okay,
actually
okay.
go and
Never
play
mind.
C3.
I'm
And
not
then
recommending it. I'm just saying I would think you're legendary, but I don't recommend it. But you would be legendary, but I
that's not
don't recommend
helpful.
it.
Stop saying it. It's not helpful. They might really hear you, and and if they play and then they don't win, they're gonna blame you, Kaden. Do you want to be blamed for someone's decision to play something that's not even?
I I mean,
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I'll
if
let you deal with
if
that.
they're gonna blame just poor old Grandmaster Caden, then yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Please stop showing Park Low in case my younger students are watching. How am I supposed to explain this to them? What? Why? Oh,
This
this. But this is.
G4.
Listen. So here's the thing. When you learn to play chess, and when you're teaching someone to play chess, you need to build up their fundamental understanding. So you're building the foundation, and you. He's like, I'm listening. So you have to teach them the important things: occupy the center, develop the pieces, bring the king to safety. Those are important things that you have to teach them. As you get to be stronger, you're unlearning some of these things, and you're learning on top of that that you have the opportunity to make some changes in your game and make decisions based on how your opponent reacts to specific things. And you have to tell them there are lines where that you're not completely respecting the principles, but you're getting something else in return. There's always like something else that you get in return, and you have to think on a balance what you're giving and what you're getting. And in this situation, these kind of plans with g4 work because black has played the move h6. H6 creates this hook that white can take advantage of by pushing g5 at some point and opening up that file, right?
Yeah.
So this is the reason why white can afford to make that move. In addition, the center is not opened, so white has not castled yet, but he doesn't need to be worried right now because the way the center is at the moment, it doesn't seem that it's going to be opened anytime soon. There's a pressure in e5. As soon as black protects the pawn and is threatening to play d5, then you need to do something about it. You will have to figure out where the king will go. But at this point, you can prepare a potential attack and then make sure you play bishop e3, queen d2, and long castle, right?
Yeah. Uh, from everything you said, I think the biggest thing I like from that is this idea of understanding what you're getting and what you're giving. Something I feel like people miss out on when they're first learning chess is they learn those basic principles. Get your king out of the center. Don't bring your queen out too early. Don't move a piece more than once. Control the center. They learn some of these basic principles. You can add a lot more onto that,
Of course.
and don't really understand that. And so the getting and the giving, the good and the bad, that okay, well, why don't you want to bring your queen out too
Yeah.
early? Well, because it can get attacked. Well, then, if I bring my queen out too early and it's attacking but not getting attacked, does that change it? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
because I understand why I don't want to bring my queen out too early. Why do I want to get my king out of the center? All same thing, because it's going to get attacked. So, things like g4 and all these that, yeah, you often want to be careful about. You need to understand the good and the bad, what you're getting and what you're giving.
Yeah, and I also think it's important, like as a coach, as a teacher, when you're starting out with someone, you're showing them the first steps, you're explaining these things. You have to have some games, some games to show them how those things are applied. So you show them a good game where both players are doing that, and ideally, that opening stage finishes quite okay for both. and then you have to show them the various different setups where you want to explain them about the queen, right? So you definitely show them situations where taking the queen out early is bad because this, and then have another model game where you show them, and here it's good because you do this and this. So finding those kind of examples is not easy.
Yeah.
And yeah, then you add up why you push more pawns in some openings and you don't do it in other if you want to. But I think at the beginning you really focus on the development, and there's tons of classical games where someone did not finish their development. The best example is the Immortal game. Right, the Immortal game, black does not take out their pieces; they just go and they win two rooks, and there are mistakes in that game. But when you're at the start, those, and you don't realize what the nuances are, why those, you know, those rooks could have actually been captured a different way, or maybe just one of them and then the other one not. So you see, like, you just pick up a game like that and you emphasize why development is important, because in that game, black, which was Kisaritsky, totally messed up, didn't take his pieces out, stayed with the king in the center, and he got punished. And
Yeah.
there's another Kisaritsky game, somehow, poor guy. He's like, he's just like, he's done it again. He kept going for the rooks. There are so many games where he just captured the rooks. I don't know what was wrong with him. But anyways, so that game, and then then there's an evergreen game that's also kind of focused on the king, and the king gets mated in the center too. Those are really beautiful games that you can show. And anyways, it emphasizes on the things that I mentioned. Too much knowledge there, but yeah, just
Oh,
Google
good
those
stuff. Good
games. It's
stuff.
easy. It's if you just
See?
Google them.
Good answers in
Yeah.
chat. Good answers.
Yeah.
So give them a snack if they play h3 g4 and rook g1, and don't if they also play a3 b4 and rook b1 too.
Well, in those situations, wait, if you're playing the English, listen, you are playing a3 before, so no, you can't go based on that. Focus on the important, like I said, on the classical openings, d4, d5, and e4, e5. Make sure they understand that, and also be mindful as to what YouTubes they're watching. I think that's very important,
Yes.
because I understand it's amazing on how much information we have about chess these days. There's so much. But listen, if you are not learning your information in the right order, you can have a very big gap in your fundamental knowledge. And you're going to struggle to understand really exactly these elements that Caden and I are talking about. Like,
Yes.
you're gonna have a huge gap. So, be careful. Ask them what YouTubes they're watching. There's specific people that I recommend and others that I do not, and they might be very popular, but I don't care. I usually I try to keep my personal students away from, not that there's no good content, but the content is not ready for specific people because
Yeah.
they're lacking that knowledge. So
Right. Yeah, it's I don't know. I think it's always hard because we have all these ideas and principles and good concepts in chess, but there's almost always an exception, right?
Exactly.
Like Fischer playing knight h5 and allowing the doubled pawns and the open king, and then just crushing his opponent after. Like there's always these exceptions, and so.
Like
Uh,
Nighthawk by itself is an exception,
yeah.
right? Because you're creating a backward pawn in d6, and you can end the outpost in d5. So there's one of your exceptions. But Magnus plays it. A lot of top players play it. Why do they get to play it and I don't, right?
Yeah, and I do
So
think that's the challenge with YouTube videos, and what you're saying sometimes is people say, "Hey, this is a really good idea," and that catches your attention, and it's not so fun for those content creators to say, "Well,
right.
it's generally a rule, but yeah, sometimes it's not." Okay, moving on.
No, but that really happens. I mean, they have to create content, and sometimes you really like a streamer. You think you enjoy their personality, you enjoy their presence on the channel and you really want to watch them and you want to learn from them. But sometimes you're just not at that point where you can really grasp all of this information. And when they make a YouTube video, they don't always have the ability to explain you everything, and they don't know the level of the player who's gonna watch those videos. So,
Yeah.
anyways, going
Yes.
back, there's a lot of rules to be broken.
A lot of
Hopefully,
rules to be
our
broken.
advice has been helpful for you, and we weren't like beating around the bushes or something. So hopefully, it was, is gonna be helpful, and yeah,
Yeah, and maybe to finish it off, Pete in chat saying knowing when to break the rules is part of the putting it all together necessary to improve at chess. I do agree with that. I think when you first learn chess, learn the rules, and then as you get better, learn when to break the rules.
exactly. That's why I like to call it as a learning and unlearning process. So, anyways,
Aiden in chat saying,
Evan stole his idea.
oh,
Well, listen, Aiden,
that's
here's the thing. In chess, all ideas, once it's out there, even if it's not, it's up for grabs. There's nobody gets to, which in a way is bad, but in a way, like,
you have to.
if you know who came up with some idea, you can give them credit if you want to,
Yeah.
but but
Yeah,
otherwise,
I mean, maybe if it works, Evan will mention you in his I don't I guess they probably don't do acceptance speeches. You have audio off, by the way.
how can you hear
What
us? What do
what's
you know what we're talking about? Like, how do you? It's
Aiden just drop a bomb? Like
um
Evan Park stole his
no,
idea
this
and then
idea is very famous. You can see it's a lot of people play this idea recently, not just in the Sicilian, but I've seen it in E4, E5 stuff. It's happened to me at some point. D4 also, you can do it in some pawn structures. So,
yeah, and I have to say the immediate challenge is knight d5.
mhm.
Is that the potential if white gets another turn, knight d5, take, queen takes, and now you're threatening queen takes f7?
Can they take in G5 and bishop E6? I don't know. I'm not sure I agree with that. I think it's just a little bit unpleasant at this point for black because if you were to develop your knight to C6, then we do have ideas with bishop C5. If you develop in D7, you're blocking your bishop.
Then knight d5.
Maybe
Because you have
then,
no
yeah,
bishop
because you don't
e6.
have bishop E6.
Maybe not. I just maybe you could also start with queen f3 and then knight d5 kind of lingers in the air. But I do agree. I think
Bishop C4 is a move I feel that white should
the
play.
yeah yeah bishop c4. How do you develop as black? Because
B5, I was thinking.
b5 as a start, but now knight d5. See, I got
Oh,
tricks ready.
you do have tricks. That's true. That is very true. Okay. We can go into a sharp position. Very sharp. So I take in d5, you take with the queen. I take in g5, you take my rook. Right?
Yes.
This looks good for white, we're told.
h6 is known to be a big mistake.
It is.
Wait, now people are chatting so quickly. Wait, hold on.
uh,
b5 is its best counter like
no,
after
wait, you cannot see this?
g5. Oh, okay, we'll see because it's like past.
Oh, sorry.
It's like
Didn't Giri
past.
publish a chessable course about this whole line very recently? He did publish a course. I don't know about this specific line. I only saw that I cheated. I only saw the short and sweet. I don't remember this line, but it's possible that it is there. I should probably buy.
Aiden saying he also showed Brewington an idea he's playing.
He blitzed out d4. Anyways, let's go back to that position and just Are you saying that my bishop b7 skills of trapping your queen are inexistent? That's what you're saying, basically. I see.
No, I actually think bishop b7, knight c6 looks like not fun.
So, why is this good for white then?
I don't know.
I
We were
think
playing it
I
out.
think
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
trolling us. We've been trolled. We've been trolled for the first time,
Well, but I
or
thought I
not the
thought I
first.
thought Aiden was saying that
But he's not also listening to us, so we don't know what
uh
he was saying.
let's get
We don't know what he was saying. He doesn't know what we were saying. So, the openings are his strong suit. I made like 4+ popular. What's
so
4+
so watch
popular?
out for the chessable course from Aiden apparently.
Uh, he helps people with openings, but he's young because he said he could play in the Denker, but he
Yeah.
didn't qualify because he's from New York, and there's some other people from New York. Okay,
Maybe a future there.
so what about b5? No, let's see. Is the sacrifice in b5 possible? No, probably not.
What if okay. So someone in chat was
a4.
suggesting a4 to start.
No, I thought Pete was suggesting a4 move 1.
No, this was the chat's going. This was
That's
way
good.
it's
That's
way
good.
back.
We
They're
love the
going.
the
We love
chat
we love
going.
we love the
We love the chat
so
when they're not trolling us.
unrelated to a4. Is there any idea if knight takes f7 or
No.
is this just is
I
this not how chess works? You don't just get to say no to I mean I
get
guess you
to
do,
I
but
get to say no. No.
no
King
like
takes. I'm gonna do the king of the hill today because
I
bishop
I
bishop
shouldn't say
is.
you can't say you can. I need more of an explanation to
I
understand. You
understand.
see,
I was just
I'm
kidding.
immature and trying to learn
Oh,
here.
you're saying I'm immature.
I'm saying I'm immature.
Not sure that's how it sounded. Bishop e6. Can I take in? Hmm. Can I take it?
You can.
Yeah, I don't like it so much, but okay. Queen takes you2. What about knight c6?
What about knight c6?
I protect b4, so I want to take an e4. Also, your queen is kind of trapped.
I don't need my queen.
Okay.
No, I'll get around to it.
Yeah. When you get around to it. Well, how are we doing with the material? Just exchange down, huh? And I don't think I have time to take any 4. White is just winning. That's what we're told. First, black should be fine here, and now it's winning for white. Okay. Well, at least we know something. We found out that. But
Knight
you didn't
c3. I'm
understand.
not
We're both
calculating. That's your
immature,
job.
and we are not able to figure out what's happening here. Black can play knight d4.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a cool trick that you're showing. Sure, we can show that if you want knight d4. He says rook g7, but does that actually lead to something? Because I don't see anything. Yeah, I take it.
Take.
Bishop
But
f7.
then I.
You got nothing. You thought you're getting, but you're just giving your pieces back. Okay, fine, I take back. Oh, you want to play rook c1? Now I see.
I want
They
the
do have
checkmate.
bishop g6 though.
That's fine.
Okay, bishop g6.
Okay.
Queen e4. Check.
Okay. Just as a matter of principle, I want to move my king forward.
Yeah, sure.
But I also don't want to tie down my
I
bishop.
need to announce that I do have all equal material at this point.
Is it literally equal?
It's just equal. It's totally equal, so I can just go to cafe maybe. I mean, yes, my pawns are really terrible. Okay, you might somehow have something from this, but the material is equal.
Oh wait, rook f8. See,
Yeah, you
but
have that check. I saw it.
I guess though, if I trade rooks,
Yeah, rook f7. This is really far from the game. Like we went on 20 moves. I'm sure I made some mistakes. I know a lot of grandmasters don't like the Koto's book on, candidate moves, but I feel like we should just go back for a second because
Yeah,
this has been a
it,
little
it's
bit too long of an
it's a
analysis, and I
bit
don't
it's a
think
bit
it's.
too fancy, probably. Max
But
cracks.
B5, like responding to B5 with A4, I certainly agree on that move. I mean, that makes sense. But again, going back to what someone was asking us earlier, is that how do you explain that to your students? Playing on one side of the board and then going to the other seems like it's going to be a little bit scary. Are there many kids, teens in the non-scholastic events due to being out of town and away from internet? We're too late to sign up this for scholastic, but I want to do something since we live in Grand Rapids. You should definitely play in the U.S. Open. There's still prizes. I don't know what your kids or teens ratings are, but the U.S. Open does have three different schedules. So there's the 9 day, which has already started. Today they will be playing their third round, but they can play in the 6 day or the 4 day schedules. So they're chess prizes that they can get, and it's a really nice experience to to be here, I think. So you can still register, that's for sure. um and there's side events, a lot of side events. You can read a lot of that information over on this link, and feel free to check out the link and read about all the events that take place in the same time. Well, not in the same time as the U.S. Open, but there are side events that you can certainly come join in and play. You don't know what quad means? Okay. So quad means that based on the number of people that register, there's going to be different small tournaments organized. So a quad is usually like 4 players. So 4 players of similar ratings are going to play in one tournament, and they get to play against each other. So there'll be 3 rounds, and you get to play 3 rounds. So that's what a quad is. Then there's the U.S. Open 10-minute um, tournament, which I have to check exactly. I don't know exactly. I couldn't memorize the entire schedule, but the schedule. This is the link to the schedule, so you can see every single event that's there. Understand if you don't know how to register for the quads. But for example, so today is Monday, right? So today there's the US Open quads, right? So it already started, so obviously you cannot register for that, but you can register for it tomorrow. So you come here earlier, you register for the tournament, and then based on the number of people that will join, you know, they will join in this tournament with people of similar ratings, 4 of them playing against each other. Other events that you can join in still are going to be, of course, the National Game 15 Championship. That is on Wednesday, August 2nd. And that's a 15-minute tournament that you can play. I don't know how many rounds there are. Definitely need to read the information for that. But it's 15 minutes per game, and I believe there might be at least 6 rounds. But again, I have not memorized the entire schedule. We are mostly doing the commentary. I
We are
wasn't
only
planning
human.
on well, I wasn't planning on playing any of these events, but I feel like we might consider it. We'll see. So, anyways, so you can do quads almost every single day. Um, you can, like I said, join those. You would have to play. Come on, say
Playing chess is
stuff.
great.
Come on, you should. You should do that. You should do that. So, anyways, the 4 day schedule is still available, 3 day schedule, and I think there's US Game 10 or Game 5. What? There was another tournament. Why can't I find it? Um, it is there. It is there with some patience. You could also play like I don't see it. I'm sorry. But anyways, if you have any other questions, just come in at the Davos Convention Center. You can join in. You can go to Chess Control and learn as much information about the various events that are here. We might not have, we might not be able to provide you the best updated information because I just know that the times when these tournaments are, but they can certainly give you more information about it. Be sure to arrive a little bit early so in case you want to play in a specific tournament, they will be able to register you and you are all ready for everything, of course. All right, let's go back to, you still want to, oh, this game looks very,
I was glancing through
yeah.
while you're talking about all the
I
tournaments
just
that
want to make sure, we are very excited to be here. And if there's someone who actually lives in the city, we don't want them to miss the opportunity of coming
yeah
here. If you are coming from further away and you haven't made your plans yet, I understand how, it's maybe
it's
harder
a
to
bit of a
get you
challenge.
to attract you to come here. But if you are here, this is an opportunity you don't want to miss. It's really the most prestigious tournament, and you get to see a lot of grandmasters here, a lot of strong players in the country. And if you're not familiar with specific things or specific events that US Chess Federation organizes, this is the place to learn them, and it's basically in your home
Yes,
city.
yes,
So
which is
I
always
want to
a
make
fun
sure,
experience.
yeah, don't be afraid. US chess staff is always very nice at helping everyone understand its mission, what they're doing, and just wants to see more people playing chess. So yeah, and so do we. So all right, um,
uh,
back to some chess. You set your
maybe.
eyes on this tournament in the Irving. International Master Timothy Taylor, who has written a chess book, International Master Mark Ginsburg, who I remember was unhappy with the way I wrote some articles. I got a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
comments. I got a lot of comments from him how I forgot to mention something. So I do
Okay.
remember that.
Oh,
But
I've played both of these players, Tim Taylor, quite a few times actually. I played him when I was playing some round robin tournaments in California. Mark Ginsburg, I played back in 2010 at the Copper State International in Arizona.
mhm.
Both good players.
I think he might be from Arizona actually,
Is
Mark.
he still in Arizona?
I'm not
I knew
sure.
I knew. Well, I believe he was living there back when I played him, but I mean, if he's still there, that's pretty cool. I feel like a lot of chess players
I
kind of
said
move
move around,
around.
move around.
But if he's still there in there, well, I guess we have the list. Is that where he's playing from?
Oh, okay, yes, you're right. I should certainly check that out for you.
If
All
only it
right,
was a tournament, we knew exactly where people were from.
Timothy is from Northern California. Yeah, Arizona. Same.
Arizona.
Yeah.
Okay, Mark Ginsburg playing from Arizona. Very nice. This
He's not
position.
playing from Arizona.
Well,
It's for
for
Arizona.
Arizona.
See, I had to get you with something today.
Oh
I'm
man.
just trying to be funny. Not sure if that worked. You were laughing, so I guess
It worked. It
for
worked. It
now,
worked.
we'll pretend like it was good. But this is an interesting setup actually against the Sicilian to play f4 and then go d5 immediately. And does black get that pawn back eventually? Not yet.
No.
But they will have the opportunity to play against white's somewhat weakened pawn structure, though e6 is a square to be worried
Yeah.
about as well.
This is tough because
Oh, so in 2020, the Arizona representative did actually play from Arizona.
hey,
I actually don't know who US Chess is. I don't know who's writing from
he's
US
actually
Chess.
typing.
Because Pete is in the channel too, so it cannot be Pete. we have someone who took over US Chess page.
I think the funniest not that I doubt someone's hacking into it, but it would be pretty funny if you ever did hack into someone's account. Do not recommend it.
don't
Don't do it.
don't say
But
stuff
just
like
to
that.
actually be helpful, like some sort of ethical
Yeah,
hacking
that's
in a
really
way.
nice.
But yeah, we appreciate the
The
comments.
power. I can't tell. I cannot tell who it is. Uh, Unless it's Pete with being logged in from separate accounts, and
He's
he's
just
just trying to.
Pete, as soon as we start seeing Pete say something in US chess, oh yeah, that's a great idea, and Pete say something and that's a great idea,
No,
then
no,
then
no,
we know. Then we know.
no. I'm not sure.
So yeah, I the evaluation of this position it's it is weird to start. I feel like I would lean towards Tim Taylor here, just
Because he has an
having
extra
the
pawn,
extra pawn.
and
Uh,
there's no bishop pair here. It's no bishop
yes,
pair.
and I don't know. I'm picturing in my head if Black some at some point does take this pawn on d3,
Mm-hmm.
like who's better positionally,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like it's likely to be White because Black's gonna have to take a few moves to be able to take this pawn. Has to watch out for this pawn. This bishop lands on e3. You have to watch out for this pawn. So it feels like by the time Black could take this pawn on d3, I would sort of expect White has developed a bit better and maybe has a slight edge positionally just because of this weak e6 pawn.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But I mean, it's not clear to me. It's not clear to me because what do you plan to do if I chase? So if I play h6, you want to go 94 or?
yes.
Hmm. Can I go back bishop e7?
e7
I'm gonna go
and
knight f2.
uh do I need to go back knight f2?
Someone was suggesting knight takes e4, but I don't think knight takes e4. Yeah, pawn takes.